All right, welcome into episode 5 of the Casey Current podcast. This one is coming on the heels of Izzy Rodriguez and early start in the Lauren Holiday Impact Award. So we only found it perfectly fitting to bring in Vice President of Community Relations, Ben Aken. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the pod.
Yeah, Ben and I have a great time out in the community and doing stuff, including like player appearances. And this is going to be really fun, I think, because our community relations team like very much punches above its weight class. And you are a small but mighty team that gets out into the community and just makes Kansas City a better place. And for that, I am so grateful. I know the community is really grateful. So we'll dive into some of those stories maybe that you've heard about the impact that you guys are making. But you guys have pillars and you have like a mission statement that you guys come into work with every day or go out into the community with. Can you kind of talk us through and introduce us to some of those?
Definitely. Well, first, we have a great team.
Yeah.
So I'm honored to work with. There's a group of 4 of us. So DePriest Taylor, Avery Tulliver, and Sophia Pope. And everyone is so passionate about their not only their like interests, but they bring a lot to the table, like bring a lot of who they are, which I think really helps us as an organization. So I think overall, I just like appreciate who they are as people.
Yeah.
So none of the things that, I've been able to accomplish or our team's been able to accomplish hasn't been in court without coordination from others. So we really appreciate
and
that.
They're so phenomenal because they all have like something that they're really good or they're really passionate about. And you guys just divide and conquer so perfectly that I personally think it's a tribute to your leadership skills. But I also think like what a beautiful testament to how your entire team very much reflects like the overall picture of what the Kansas City Current and what society should be.
It is. Yeah. We really try to do that, but thank you for saying that. So yeah,
they
are a great group.
Yeah.
So a great group. So we do have 3 areas that we've really tried to center in a lot of our community outreach efforts.
Yeah.
And this has evolved. I just celebrated my 5th anniversary with the club.
Snaps.
Recently.
Let's go.
Yes.
Ben, OG. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's been great. But as the teams evolved, some of our areas of focus have evolved as well. But our first kind of main focus that always has is just really increasing the access to sport. So just really having an opportunity for more kids to play sports. So hopefully it's soccer, but it doesn't always have to be. Just get out there, be doing something. And then second, we're really focused on STEAM efforts. So, I was surprised a little bit coming into the organization and our players, about 45% or so have STEAM degrees.
Yeah.
So, we have engineers on our team. We have some art majors. A couple years ago, we had a player on our team that forego a vet school in order to play soccer. So, we have these like really talented women playing for our team, and they are very smart and they are interested in science and other things. So I think it's important to showcase and be involved in projects that really reflect that. And so those are their STEAM programs. So everything's from renovating like STEAM labs to supporting a robotics program to doing all sorts of little things like that. But so that's our second pillar. Okay. Sorry, I won't go on too much of a tangent. And then our third pillar is entrepreneurship. So we look at Chris and Angie Long, entrepreneurs. Yeah. We look at Brittany and Patrick Mahomes. Yes, great football player, but also an extreme entrepreneur, and the city is better for it. And so it's important for us, whether that's through CBKC Stadium, the vendors and the different like food options that we have at the stadium, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, minority-owned businesses are there. We try to work with them throughout the year. And then throughout a lot of our programs, we want to make sure that we're highlighting different businesses, that we're making sure that we're, if we're ordering lunch for the staff, let's, instead of just ordering like from the big organization, let's order from the smaller shop. Where can we make little impacts to benefit people here in Kansas City?
It's just incredible the impact that you guys are making and that we're seeing. And I know, like, I'm rocking my my new Ted Lasso Casey Current shirt.
Yes.
And to steal a quote from the new season, it's life is so much more than football. And I think we really see that with what you guys do, and we also see that in women's sports in particular. And so I'm going to lead into that with my current kick for you. If you can describe Ben Aken in your own words, how would you describe yourself?
Well, I've always been a 6'3" guy, so I am tall. I realize that. And I realize sometimes I stand out walking into a room, but I would much rather be the person behind somebody like talking. So this is kind of a big deal even coming on the podcast
You're
today.
owning it. I love it. Let's go.
I know. So I am definitely not. I was like that kid that played sports and probably wasn't aggressive enough to go too far, because I was, even though I was tall, I wasn't like the best basketball player, or I was too tall and not coordinated enough to play soccer too long. But I also have received a lot of benefit from it, and learned so much and had the opportunity to play and played a lot more casually than competitively, I guess.
Okay. So give yourself some more credit though.
I suppose. But really just, I try to lead with my heart and try to look for people, and look for ways to elevate people around me. So, like I said, I'd much rather write the talking points or design the program than have someone else go out there and get the credit for it. But so I would say that's a little bit of a description about me, is that the guy behind the camera that's every once in a while has to jump in front of the camera as well.
I love that. You are without question one of the most unselfish humans that I have ever interacted with. And I know that the Casey Current is so much better because of you. And I'm very blessed to not only like work with you and be next to you, but also be able to call myself your friend. And what most people don't know is like, I love our setup at the Kansas City Current at our training facility, because where we sit, where Ben and I sit, we're literally like the two faces that you see first when you walk into our second level. And it just always brightens my day, because like when I'm about to take my right-hand turn to where I sit, I always see Ben's face to the left, just smiling and welcoming and like, I'm so excited to see you. And I'm like, yes, we need that kind of vibe. Like the world needs more of Ben Akens, because it is just such a joy, and you fill that whole space with light. So thank you.
Well, bouncing right off of you. You fill my cup as well. And it's a lot easier to approach the day with a positive attitude than a negative one. So
amen. More snaps to that. Let's do it. All the positive vibes. But I want to explore in this second segment how you got to that place, your journey, a little bit more about your story. So let's start off with how did you find a passion for community relations? How did you get into it?
Yeah, I've always loved sports, whether playing or watching. It's been a big part of our life. I joked that my first job in sports was working a concession stand for high school baseball games.
Okay.
So I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and both my parents were teachers. And like most teachers, they end up taking like other jobs to kind of help feed their family, I guess. And my dad was a coach, basketball coach for years, but for a period of time, he also like helped run the baseball stadium in town.
Okay.
And part of that included running the concession stand.
Yeah.
So I was put to work. And so that was always kind of, from the beginning, I kind of saw like there was things beyond the field. So that really set me up early. I went to University of Nebraska. I grew up in Papillion, Nebraska, right outside of Omaha.
Yeah.
Loved it. Third generation member of graduate of Papillion La Vista. Go Monarchs. And then went to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln.
Okay.
While there, I took an internship with the athletic department. So I was working in their marketing department. So my first job as a sophomore in college was to how to encourage more college students to attend swimming and diving events. Nebraska is known for the rabid fan base for football and volleyball.
Very much so, yes.
Not at the time anyway, not as much for swimming and diving. So, but it was a great challenge. How do we get more students to go and attend these events that weren't necessarily receiving the attention? So that first year I had an event, and we had 30 students show up for these free t-shirts that I had like secured from Nike. And the coach was so excited that there was we had increased the number of fans at the swimming and diving event. And I was like, oh, wow, I can have an impact on the game by something I can do when I'm not out there actually performing athletically. Yeah. So that really kind of meant something to me, that like there's a way to participate and how I can be part of this.
Yeah.
So several years working on different sports, worked my way up, ended up working for the women's volleyball team in their marketing department. So they're in their marketing area, and we are encouraging more people to come out to those games, which is like amazing. And I love women's volleyball, and that was a lot of fun to be part of as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
So so it's cool. It's like it's neat. And that's Husker volleyball, and it's its own thing. But anyway, did another internship. So I did the one internship, did an internship for moved to Chicago, working at Sears Roebuck in their so this is dating myself, but I went to a lot of NASCAR events and worked in their sponsorship department. Went to NASCAR events, WNBA games, and at the time the Backstreet Boys tour. And yes, it was amazing. But just having an opportunity to see a different side of the business. It was the sponsorship business at the time.
Yeah.
So that's internship number 2.
Okay.
Went back to school, graduated, moved to Kansas City for an internship number 3 with the Kansas City Royals in their community relations department. A whole new field I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
So spent that first year traveling around with Slugger, their mascot.
I bet that was entertaining.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. So we did a school program where Slugger can't talk, but I could talk, and we would go and perform for elementary school kids. But it was a great way to improve my speaking skills, get to know Kansas City, really fall in love with the city, different parts of the city. And then, so that internship, it was a season-long internship, turned into a full-time job. And I was actually there for 20 years before having the opportunity to come over to the Current. So yeah. But I say that, like, I like to tell students about that I had 3 internships, and working in sports, you need those internships.
Right.
And by the time I was doing that third one with the Royals, I was like, another one? Like, I'm just ready for a full-time job. But now looking back and knowing what it takes, like, you have to take those risks, and you have to sometimes do those kind of tough jobs. And I waited tables at night at a steakhouse, and, you just do some things to make sure it all pan out. But I wouldn't change it, because like, especially what I'm fortunate enough to be a part of now with the Kansas City Current, that path, I wouldn't have been able to do it without like going through some of those steps. Yeah. So, I'm just so excited about it.
Would you have even guessed, like, it sounds like your start came in women's sports. Would you have even guessed, like, maybe 5-10 years ago that you would be in this position with the Current and with a global brand?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Like, it's so amazing, and I love it. And I could see the passion. And I know that even prior to the Current, seeing like my mom, who schedules her days around when Nebraska volleyball's in session, about games to watch on Nebraska Public Radio or television, to watch those volleyball games, and you see the passion of those fans for those teams. Yeah. So I love seeing it now, and like, the full house at CPKC Stadium, and just that opportunity, that excitement that happens. That we're surrounded with all the time. Yeah. It's so awesome and so well-deserved.
So you talk about the grind, and I love that you like really leaned into like, okay, next generation, like, be ready for this, because sports regardless is a grind, and also finding like your journey and your path, which I think a lot of people, and especially like the younger generations, are like, okay, this is what I'm going to school for. This is what I'm going to accomplish. Like, that is my goal, my dream. But a lot of times you get thrown some curveballs, for, a lack of a better analogy. But like, some of those curveballs taught you to be the leader you are today, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think about, I have this quote that I come back to a lot. And it's that yesterday's dreams are today's to-do list. So, none of it's easy. It's very cool to dream about what's possible. And, we want to do these projects, and we want to build these mini pitches, which I'll talk about, or start this league. And that's great. And it's great to like dream. But when it comes down to it, then you're like going through the steps to make it happen. Yeah. And it's helpful when you're like in the grind of trying to like push something out and bring things together, and you're hitting walls, and you thought something was going to work out, then you're told that you can't do that, so you have to like pivot. You just have to remember that like there's a larger reason for all this, and that's, you know, the dreams that you had yesterday. So
yeah. Oh, that's so good. I hope everybody gets to take that away. Like, write it down if you're jotting notes on the Casey Current podcast. You heard that quote, Ben Aken. People volunteer their time all the time. That's what they do in their free time. But, you know, that's literally your job. So do you have free time? What do you do with opportunities to potentially fill your cup? Because when you're constantly giving to people and you're comfortable being the person behind the scenes, what helps Ben Aken, you know, stay on track? Do you do anything in Kansas City? Like, what do you do?
I do. Yes. I love dogs. So I currently have one dog, Gertie. She's 15.
Yeah.
Gertie's amazing. You know, she's been through all sorts of challenges in her 15 years, but I really like having dogs, and I've had other dogs in the past. And I think that that's been really helpful for me to go home and to like have my dogs and, you know, like think about them and make sure their needs are getting met. And much like kids, I have several nieces and nephews that, you know, they don't really care like the issues of the tough email we got during the day, right, or, you know, the different things that happen. So I think having those outside things, whether it's kids, dogs, or yoga, which is a new project for me.
Okay.
Getting involved in yoga are really important, just to kind of like take your head out of your game a little bit and kind of like bring you back to reality. So for me, it's my dogs, yoga, and hearing what my nieces and nephew are up to.
It's so perfect because those are the things that really ground you. And I think especially in your role, like you're dealing with so much on a daily basis. You're moving around so much. You're interacting with so many different personalities and people. You mentioned yoga. Hopefully we can get some yoga out here. We're currently in the Casey Current broadcast studios, or Casey Current studios rather, which is, you know, right by our little turf area, which we hopefully will have some yoga out on the turf in Current Landing before long, which is a community asset. So let's shift gears a little bit, talk about what's going on within the Current, what you're in charge of, and the impact, firsthand impact that you guys are making. So when we say CPKC Stadium, when we say the Casey Current, when we say Current Landing is a community asset, what does that mean to you guys? What does that mean to your team?
That has been the goal from the beginning, is to make sure that CPKC Stadium, the surrounding area, is a community asset. You know, the stadium, for what it represents and what it was, you know, first purpose-built stadium for a women's professional sports team. Yeah. This stadium provides a way for fans to be seen, to be included, that they're not necessarily getting other places. So I think about the types of fans that come to our games. And how excited they are to be there, and the friendships that are formed by cheering for the Current. So I see that as an asset. I think about the hundreds of tickets that we've set aside specifically. I say that we as the Current have set aside specifically for nonprofit organizations to utilize, to bring kids, seniors, you know, otherwise, or people that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to come. You know, in some, for a certain program, our Tickets for Youth program, we have an opportunity to provide food and merchandise as well as tickets, and they get to meet a player and have all these like special experiences and memories. I think that's a big part of being a community asset. And then really just the different ways that this stadium is used in the community. So we've hosted different nonprofit groups that have had the opportunity to host events here. We partnered with United We earlier this season.
Yeah, that was cool.
For an amazing breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, over 1,000 people showed up to learn from some senior women leaders and be inspired how they can make change in their communities. You know, all of it just goes so beyond soccer. But the soccer's amazing too.
You know, we have a little fun here and there.
We do.
Okay, I'm going to kind of rattle through some things that you guys are doing right now. And you can interject. We can kind of like navigate this accordingly. But most recently, you guys had a huge announcement, but also you're in the middle of this league, the 9th and Van Brunt No Barrier Soccer League. So incredible. It has created ripples in Kansas City, but also nationally. Mini pitches that are being built throughout the city for opportunities for the youth in KC to have places to play, safe places. And then mental health is a hot topic right now. So Sideline the Stigma and partnering with Blue KC has been such a powerful project for you guys. I don't know where you start. Like, when do you sleep, Ben? When do you sleep?
Well, again, back to the great team. We have a great team that is really putting this all together. But yeah, it's really an honor, and we are just charged with, I think personally, like, we just want to make sure that we do as much as we can with what's presented in front of us. So I don't want to miss opportunities. So we want to make sure and do as much as we can. And really, there's no better example of that than the league that's happening at 9th and Van Brunt.
Yeah.
I encourage listeners, if they haven't, check out the soccer fields at 9th and Van Brunt.
So fun.
They are the Parks and Rec, Kansas City Parks and Rec Department over the last couple of years renovated these fields, which are gorgeous. So several artificial soccer fields. If you go there on a random day, even this is pre-league, you will see different communities. So you have like Spanish being spoken in one part of the area, and those kids are playing soccer. You have several people from different African countries playing soccer in another corner. You have just kids hanging out that, I recently met a 10-year-old that he just hangs out there. And I said, "Oh, you must live in the neighborhood, right?" And he's like, "No, I live about a mile and a half away, but I come here because I love soccer. Oh. And this is the only place where I can play soccer." And he was just waiting for a pickup game to happen. So that 9th and Van Brunt League, we're exactly where we need to be and where we need to be hosting that league. But we have 120 kids playing, working with every area nonprofit groups. Every Saturday morning, they're out there playing. We've tried to overcome a lot of the barriers that we've heard about that have kept those kids from playing. So they get new Nike kits, new cleats, soccer balls, shin guards. We're paying the coaches, which a lot of times in youth sports, there's a volunteer coaches, but those are really positions that we need to support those coaches that take the time to do that. So they are getting paid. We started a referee program. Okay. So opportunity for kids, teenagers to go through referee training. So providing their first jobs, being able to referee back at the fields that they play on. So working with CVS, U.S. Soccer Foundation, United Way, several other partners to bring that together has been really special.
And I think that's one thing I don't think a lot of people recognize is that, okay, from the comm side, we make an announcement. You guys have put together and put in months, sometimes years of work to make something come to fruition, but it doesn't end there. You guys are consistently creating programs and continuing to follow through with these programs for hopefully, years to come. So it's amazing to see that it is not just this one moment. It is a whole thing that you guys are putting together from start to finish that may not even have a finish, or that you guys hope doesn't have a finish.
Right. And continuing to evolve,
Yeah.
We talk about our mini pitch program, another area we're really proud of. We've so far at the end we're about to make another announcement for a new one, which is amazing, but we'll have 6 mini pitches in Kansas City since the organization started, and have some plans hopefully to make some more. And those are small soccer fields that really are intentionally small. They're placed where people congregate. So we do some at parks. Our most last couple ones have been at schools.
Yeah.
But they provide lighting, work with Musco Lighting to provide lighting for the neighborhood. So we've heard from Banneker Elementary, which is in Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah. We installed their one a couple years ago. We've heard from those teachers that kids are playing at recess and PE, which we kind of expected, after school. But what surprised me is they said on weekends, they'll drive by and kids are out there playing into the night. And it's because of the lighting.
Yeah.
And so the neighborhood has really appreciated that mini pitch because it provides extra lighting. People feel safer because of it. And just like families are able to drop their kids off and be able to play there, and they'll play pickup games. Maybe those kids aren't involved in like a whole league and all that involves, but you can, just similar to like you talk about showing up to play pickup basketball.
Yeah.
You can play pickup soccer right on one of the mini pitches.
And people don't realize that. It's something as simple as just like lights,
Yes.
lights going into that and being able to feel comfortable. But I mean, you talk so passionately about all of these initiatives. Do you have one that is your favorite or one that you've, been a part of?
I think really looking back is, one that I'm most proud of is probably our Olivia Bloomfield legacy seat.
Yeah.
So Olivia Bloomfield, for those that don't know, was one of the organization's earliest fans. So that first season when we were KC-NSSL, we were playing our games on a baseball field. So Legends Field. And they, to their credit, the group that put it together in Legends would put together this field that looked more like a baseball field than a soccer field or a soccer pitch, but it happened. But the fans that were there, including one, Olivia Bloomfield, she was so passionate. So she was at all our games. Olivia's confined to a wheelchair. Olivia in her young life advocated for a playground at her school that she could interact with because when she was originally at that school, being in a wheelchair, she couldn't play on the playground.
Yeah.
And she didn't think that was fair. Rightfully so. She rallied and helped build a new playground, and then built several in different areas of Kansas City. Olivia tragically passed away suddenly. But hearing about Olivia and like all the advocacy work she did so early, Chris and Angie Long decided to build the Olivia Bloomfield seat. So it's our one pink seat in CPKC Stadium where we honor a member of the community that works for inclusion, advocacy, accessibility in some other area of town or some area of in a different community, and then we honor them each of our games. So Olivia's legacy lives on, but it's so powerful to kind of meet those people that are being honored and think about Olivia every game day.
And it's just such a notable piece of the stadium too, that wherever you're at in the stadium, you see it, and it very much reflects the values of what you guys are trying to do and the bigger picture, the legacy that you will leave on the KC Current and what the Current will leave on the Kansas City community. So as we go into our final couple of segments and questions, looking back, when you look back on your time here, let's start with Ben.
Okay.
What is the legacy that you hope to leave on Kansas City?
I hope that I have had some small part in making people feel included. So I just want to make sure that, that's a big part of welcoming people into our current family, whether that's as a fan, a community member for a community project, or fellow coworkers. I want everyone to be included. And so I think that is one of our, can be the best legacy that you have, is like how you make people feel, how you make them feel included. And I hope that is what people think about me.
Well, I know that's what people think about you now. Now you still have, some more impact that you want to make, and hopefully a long way to go. But when you leave a legacy as the Kansas City Current, what is that legacy on the community that you hope you and your team are leaving to?
We have such a responsibility, and I feel that pressure, that we have get to come along an ownership group that is so interested in making an impact and seeing change, being the change makers, which we talk about. And so I hope that we as an organization, yes, we've done a lot, and all the amazing things through the stadium, through this beautiful broadcast studio that we recently opened, and the voices and the stories that will be told here. I just hope that we continue to push the door open, bring a lot of people along the way with us, and continue to open doors for others.
Okay, well, we have a new name for our lightning round because I've decided that it should be the storm round because we are Heartland red, storm blue, and of course, iconic teal. So the storm round, here we go. Are you mentally ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to rattle through them. Okay, top place to eat in Kansas City.
There's a place called Shelley's in South Kansas City. That's a Mexican place that is it's just great.
So
it's great
good.
on a Friday night.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You mentioned your pets. What are your pets' favorite things to do?
Gertie is the best TV watcher. She'll snuggle right next to you and you just chill out on the couch, and she does it really well.
I like that too. Not going to lie. Last time you took a vacation, and where did you go?
I went to Texas for my niece's wedding, and it was amazing.
Okay, that's a good vacation. Weddings are always fun, in my opinion. Hot take. What's the strangest or maybe best advice that you've ever received?
I think you can either make excuses or you can make progress.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that resonates. Okay. Flipping that. Do you have a top pet peeve? Ben Aken is like the nicest human in the entire world. So for anybody listening right now, I don't think this man has a pet peeve because he's so calm, cool, and collected and loves everyone. But do you have a pet peeve? Does that exist for you?
Maybe since we're in a little bit of work mode, not showing or being unprepared for meetings that you know are happening.
That's valid.
So yeah. But I know that I can take the blame for that myself. I think of an earlier meeting too that it probably wasn't as prepared as I should have been. So maybe that's on myself. Maybe it's my own pet peeve, not showing up.
See, look, this is the primary point is that he will flip it around and just be like, you know what? It's okay though. It might be a pet peeve, but I'm okay. We'll figure it out together. Do you have a favorite karaoke song or go-to song?
I am not a huge karaokeer, but I think you can't go wrong with anything by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, truth. Last one. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
More sleep. Is that a thing?
I think so.
Can we do that?
Especially in sports. I feel like that would be a superpower. Just okay, I can blank out my brain and I can just get some solid sleep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. That's a good one. Ben, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time. We greatly appreciate it. You are amazing. Just keep it up and keep inspiring Kansas City. It's such a blessing to have you here at the Current.
Thank you, Dani.
Appreciate you. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next week right here on the KC Current podcast. Be inspired, Kansas City.